October 1st is Budget Day, so tune in to see how it affects you with Guardian Media Limited. Watch CNC3 television for the most insightful coverage throughout the day. Starting at 6 a.m., join Hema Ramkisoon for the early morning show live from the Hyatt Regency. At noon, we continue with pre-budget discussions on the pending austerity versus prosperity measures. Then at 1:30 p.m., we bring Finance Minister Larry Hawaii's maiden budget speech live. Immediately after, join Dr. Denisar Mahabir and Roger Sant for a recap and review of the budget. Don't miss the CNC3 7 p.m. news for the most up-to-date budget stories at hand. At 8 p.m., we have a live studio panel to discuss how the budget affects you. Tune into TBC Network for a live feed of the budget on Vibe CT 105 FM, Akashvani 106.5 FM, and Radio Trinidad 7:30 AM. Intermittent live in-studio reports from CNC3 on Sangeet 106.1 FM and 95.1 FM, and Facebook coverage on Slam 100.5 FM. On October 2nd, be sure to get your Guardian and your copy of the Business Guardian Special Budget Edition with a verbatim account of the speech and special commentary and analysis from Ernest and Young. Guardian Media Limited, your ultimate source for all budget matters.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Hema Ramkisoon, and welcome to the CNC3 Early Morning Show. It is a beautiful Monday morning, and yes, we've changed locations. We're coming to you from the waterfront. We're actually on the terrace of the Hyatt Regency Hotel, and the reason we're here today, well, it's October 1st, and it's Budget Day in Trinidad and Tobago. What is the Minister of Finance expected to reveal today? Over the weekend, the People's Partnership Government held its much-anticipated pre-budget rally. Some major announcements were made. The Prime Minister herself made the announcement about the removal of VAT on food items, all food items. That excludes luxury items, so no alcohol, caviar or champagne included in that list. But the opposition has lashed back, and several independent analysts have also stated that it's misinformation, that it's simply playing PR and politics with the nation's expectations as to what is going to be delivered today. What can we expect? What are the challenges facing the country as we prepare for yet another fiscal package? With the government's decision to remove VAT, can they do it? What are the logistics of this agreement? Also, the expenditure profile continues to expand. Our revenue stream continues to be under attack. Oil and natural gas, the prices are quite volatile on the international market. We're a country, almost 50% of the country's GDP depends on the activity in the energy sector. Some major finds have been made this year. The government touted it as some of the most successful bid rounds. But the benefit of these bid rounds, well, we're not going to see it until the next decade. What exactly does all of this mean for Larry Hawaii, the new man in the hot seat? He's been there for about 2.5 months. A lot of expectations. His shoulders must be very broad this morning. All eyes will be on Minister Hawaii as he delivers the budget, which will be about 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. Don't forget, we're here at CNC3. We're going to give you all of the latest. Our early morning show this morning is actually going well on to 9 a.m. After that, we're going to have a number of programs throughout the day highlighting all of the issues facing the country at this time as we all listen intently to what the government delivers to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. How are we going to boost economic activity? An expected growth rate of 1.3%. Is it enough? And can we actually do it? We're coming out of 3 consecutive periods of negative growth. What does all of this mean for a fiscal package which is well over $50 billion? This morning, our guest list includes Subhash Ramkalawan, the Managing Director of Bourse Securities, a former Minister of Finance, Mariano Brown, the President of NATUC, 2 social workers, that is Fuladi Matota and Hazel Brown. We're also going to be speaking to financial analyst Ian Narain, and the Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development, Dr. Botiwari, will also be joining us at 7 a.m. this morning. A very packed show, but it is Monday morning, and we're going to start things off the way we normally do, telling you about the financial systems which govern our country, the legislation that is in place. What exactly does all of this mean? A level of volatility. Confidence is the fad word that's being used by every single investor and every single consumer in this country. Following the CL Clico debacle, what does all of this mean for our future prospects? But as expected every Monday morning, we're now going to go straight to the Bourse Report.
Good morning and welcome once again to the Bourse Report. being shown here from the Hyatt. Today I wanted to talk about what's happening with the stock market and how the stock market in Trinidad and Tobago has performed for the last 9 months. Investors would have experienced capital appreciation in the last 2 years, and in this 9-month period it has been very much the same. Whereas what we have seen is a growth in the value of the market by 5.29% over the past 9 months. And essentially, on the Trinidad and Tobago stock, that is the Trinidad and Tobago companies listed on the exchange, would have shown much better performance, upwards of 13% in the market. And so, essentially, the market has done reasonably well. Is the market expensive or is it too pricey? That is a question that investors are asking as dividend yields have been coming down as valuations have gone up. Essentially, the market is at a very pricey stage, as you would see on the second graph, where multiples, which is a measure that investors would use, are up as high as 20 times, in excess of 20 times, 20.9 times, whereas the average market has been about 14 times over the past 5 years. The last time the market was up 20 times was in 2004, and it came down quite precipitously. So that it is a sign for investors to be very selective about what you buy and when you buy those stock. Be very selective rather than simply buy in the market. Next, we talk about the whole question of what has happened in terms of volume and values for the last 9 months. Volumes have been down to the 6.9 million for the last 9 months, shares that is, as opposed to 547 million in the previous quarter. What does that translate into in terms of value? Valuations of value of stock traded, which is the most important indicator for the industry. Values have been down by some 34%. The figures I have before me, last 9 months, $876 million. This corresponding 9 months to September 30th, 2012, $574 million. Very quickly now to volume leaders and value leaders. In terms of volumes, you would see that some of the volume leaders, Capital and Credit, which was eventually sold into JMMB, Guardian Holdings, OCM, One Caribbean Media, TCL, and NCBJ, as you would see on your screen in terms of the percentages. By value, though, the main movers would have been Republic Bank. Of the total figure, Republic Bank was 111 million of the 574 million. Scotia, Guardian Holdings, Neil and Massey, Ansa Makal made up the top 5 advances. Declines, advances, we moved to advances, we were talking about value. Advances, in terms of increases in valuation, Unilever, 41%, the highest mover. OCM, 38%, the second highest mover. Scotia, 26%. Guardian Holdings, 26%, and Whitco, 21%. Of course, there were 17 advances, 10 declines, and 2 running flat. Top declines, you would see on your screen, Guardian Media, FCIB, JMMB, NCBJ, and Readymix. So now, this is the story for the past 9 months. In conclusion, what we would say is that for the period, advances beat declines. Valuations went up. The valuations of the stock market might be a bit high at this point in time. Be very selective. Look for us on page 10 of the Express, where we provide you with further information and provide you with prices for our range of Save Invest mutual funds. Have yourself a wonderful investment week, and we look forward to the pronouncements of the Minister of Finance in this year's budget later today. This is Subhash Ramkilawan for the Bourse Report.